Reading, writing and arithmetic. Those are the core lessons many of us remember from our school days. And while discipline in class wasn't always fun, for the vast majority it was never an option. But now a surprising number of parents are opting out of that educational norm altogether. Instead, they've decided to cater directly to their child's interests, whatever they may be. As Juju Chang now reports.
It's a common morning ritual, hustling the kids to get ready for school.
Are you guys getting hungry?
And parents for work. But as the school bus doors close, the Martin family isn't on it.
Want to go out and see the baby bunnies? Did you check on their food today?
The 4 Martin children, ages 11, 8, 5, and 2, simply don't go to school. Never have. They aren't homeschooled either. Instead, they're what's called unschooled.
Just picture life without school, so maybe a weekend. We wake up and we have breakfast and we just start pursuing what we're interested in doing.
Mom Dana Martin doesn't think her kids need to go to school to learn their ABCs.
Doesn't a child need to know who George Washington and FDR and JFK were?
I don't know, do you think they do? Do you think it's necessary?
Your mom lets you kind of read and study whatever you want? What about like math? Does she ever force you to do math?
No, not really.
Unschooling is radical enough, but radical unschooling extends the laissez-faire philosophy to parenting. Meals, for example, are up to the kids.
Pasta with peanut butter sauce.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to have to try some.
Whatever they want, as long as it's in the house.
And so because we don't punish, we don't use the term rules, but we have a rhythm to our day.
Dad Joe works from home building wooden toy sets. In this home, there's no bedtime, no alarm clocks in the morning, so 11-year-old Devin often stays up past midnight.
Devin stays up until 1 o'clock in the morning.
Sometimes. And I'm so happy that he does and that he has that time to himself. He can have a nice 3-4 hours with Joe or just me.
They're fighting again.
What time do you usually wake up?
Around 10.
Oh my goodness.
Well, it's the same amount of sleep.
So while kids everywhere are studying history
in the summer of 1765
and geography,
Bering Strait,
the Martin kids are free to pursue their own intellectual curiosity. Devin's baking projects involve measurements and creativity.
About 8 to 6 cups of flour.
I just personally don't believe in that humans learn best when they're trying to learn something that somebody else is telling them to.
While they aren't always idle, there are no tests, no homework, no lesson plans. If you're wondering, unschooling is legal because it falls under the guidelines of homeschoolers, so the regulations vary from state to state. Dana says her children have learned reading and math without formal instruction, but when we asked 11-year-old Devin a basic multiplication question, he stumbled.
It permeates our culture, that this is about, working hard, getting to the next step.
Sometimes they'll ask me, how do your kids learn if they're having fun all day? Like they so don't equate learning with fun.
Right, so how do your kids learn if they're just having fun?
Whatever they're interested in, I try to bring as much of that into their life as possible with as many resources as possible.
We followed the Martins on a rainy day in Madison, New Hampshire to see how this learning through osmosis works. They went on a field trip. First stop, the Weather Discovery Center. A lot of fun, but not always easy for Dana to make her point.
It says wind is caused when air flows from an area of high pressure to an area of low pressure.
So what did you learn?
I learned not to stand on top of a mountain.
At the rock shop,
how much is it? How much is it?
You're going to do that.
The store owner quizzes them.
Remember what it does?
The response?
How do you see your kids' future lives playing out? High school, college age, beyond?
I don't really necessarily project. I just want them to be happy.
But I'm stunned that you've never thought about what kind of jobs your kids would end up.
Well, I don't know. Does anybody know? Do you know? Can you picture what kind of jobs your kids would have?
My son wants to be the Yankee third baseman, so right now it's a little off.
Perhaps not the best long-term plan.
What you making, Ivy J?
Dana, though, has become a leader in the growing radical unschooling movement through YouTube videos.
True learning comes from the internal drive, the need from the learner.
She's even written a book. There are an estimated 150,000 unschooled families nationwide.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Dana.
Dana, who teaches childbirthing classes from home part-time, even gets paid to go into other people's homes as the unnanny. as opposed to the super strict disciplinarian on the TV show Super Nanny.
You will go straight to your room for that behavior right now.
Like, what kinds of things do you like to do?
Play.
That's the most important job you have right now at your age.
Massachusetts mom Erica Berg homeschools and is trying to ditch the textbooks and try unschooling.
Most of the struggle is myself and trying to figure out how to let go of what my idea of school is.
And the mother of 3 boys is full of questions.
What if they really do need algebra and I don't teach them algebra?
So the fears that you have are so normal.
Okay.
And algebra is not something everybody on earth needs to know. This life is about honoring the fact that we're not all put on the earth to do the same thing in life. Just connecting and being present in the now, they're so into it.
It's one thing to follow your child's lead in learning, but what about discipline?
You can stay in the backyard and use this hammock while we're here, okay? Please.
4-year-old Henry wants to go play on the blue hammock in the front yard. At first, his mom forbids him. But then Dana intervenes, saying the no could easily be a yes.
Why can't he go on the blue hammock? We can just as easily move on over here and still have everyone's needs met.
No, that's perfect.
So yeah, let's do it.
All right.
In your mind, what was the most interesting tweak that you were able to make?
One of the things I love to do is sharing how a child feels if a parent isn't necessarily seeing that. Because he has a real need for going in it, and his needs are just as valid as ours.
Right.
But the kids say what they need is a whole bag of cookies.
Mommy, how many can we have these?
I don't know, 3 or 4. We're all set with the cookies, okay?
We have chocolate.
Dana encourages Erica to try letting her kids have it their way.
You know, when you set up things with limits, you're setting up a scenario of kids sneaking things.
Yep.
I don't know if that's ever happened.
Oh, yeah.
Erica isn't quite sure.
I just feel like if they ate the whole bag of cookies, they're off the wall. I think that's something that's going to take me a while to
No, I can have that other
work on and feel okay about.
You're doing awesome.
Thank you.
Back at the Martin household, Devin's baking project passes the test.
Do you ever wonder, I wonder if I could go to school too?
Well, I could if I wanted to.
But you don't want to.
No, not really. Because I like being free and doing whatever I want.
What about when the learning gets more sophisticated? How do you expose them to Shakespeare or Twain or Henry James? You know, how do you teach them the great works and the great historians if you can't get them to sit down and learn?
Well, I think a lot of people might value that more than others. I honestly don't remember. Yes, although I know their names, I don't remember the details of what I learned in school about the historians, for example.
Was that go like that?
Details her children may never have the chance to forget. For Nightline, this is Juju Chang in Madison, New Hampshire.